Valentine's Day special. So I hope everybody's having a good Valentine's Day. If you have a date, have a good day, have a good night, I closed the store, so I'm not really doing anything tonight, and I'm not with anybody anyway, nor am I really talking to anyone, so I'm free tonight anyway. With that being said, there was a point, because I've been living on my own, or I felt pretty much by myself since the summer of 2022, right? Not in like a bad way, at least not all of the time. So I'm looking at pretty much having like been relatively alone for the past 4 years of my life. Right, almost a half decade. Like, I feel like I'm pretty much almost a completely new person. I think I may have said that in a previous video, how we like turn into a new person every 5 years because all the atoms in our body switch out. Or if you have heard that factoid before, you probably know what I'm talking about. I feel like it's true because, like, something like that was a big deal for me personally. I'm specifically talking about like what catapulted me into like living alone for 4 years was like a devastating breakup. And I got with a person at a point in my life where I was basically primed to be like hopelessly codependent. And unfortunately, I paid the price. I mean, I must say, like, I was loved like I had never felt seen before in my life. So I think losing that was like, oh fuck, I'll never find that again. And like, it's kind of sad to say, but like, I didn't really need that anyway. Like, I think I can like live a life without that. That's fine. Like, the ultimate goal for me would to be like become a father, but honestly, like in this day and age and in, like the way the world is right now, like I'm probably doing the smart thing, like not having a kid, because who knows what's gonna happen 10 years from now. Hopefully this country will come to its senses, but I'll try to stay away from the like political stuff, because we all know the algorithm gods hate that. There was a point where being alone felt like a punishment, because I was there because I had failed being with someone, and I was there as a direct result. I think subconsciously that's what it felt like for a long time. And like those first 8 or so months were really brutal, especially that winter. Me and someone that I hung out with a lot, we called it the winter of sadness. And it was just like every weekend we were pretty much like getting fucked up on something or just getting drunk, and then being like upset about life and like, yeah. Which, sometimes healing does look like that for a little bit, but that person must have felt on like an optimistic upswing one particular weekend, because I remember, I think I was kind of like, I was not drinking alcohol, but I think I drank a lot of kava, and I don't think I was smoking weed at this time because I had like first started having issues with my GERD and whatnot, and I kept thinking I was dying of heart failure, and I was like really aware of the gas bubbles up here pinning up to my chest, and it was just a really painful experience, on top of being in celiac flare-ups for pretty much the first half of 2023. It was fucked. it was like a baneful existence, what can I say? But I was like wobbling around, like, because I had drank like a shit ton of kava, because like, so also I got like this diamond, because this was originally like my ex-wife's initial, but then my buddy like deconstructed an electric toothbrush and made a gun out of it, so I put like a diamond around it, and I think he just wanted to black it in, but he thought he did a shit job. Like, I really don't give a fuck. I just wish he would have like colored it in, but he didn't. And then we talked about making it like a monster eye and stuff. It's probably something I'm gonna have to do myself, honestly, but I think it was like that same night, but I wasn't even like talking about this person. Because that was like prehistory concerning this point in time. But I was downtrodden about having been broken up with still from like the summer prior, and what, led me into like living alone. And this person was like, hey, man, these types of life events, or whatever he said to that effect, he's like, these aren't things you like get over or get through. They're things you grow around. I'll never forget. He like did it like that. He's like, they're things you grow around. And think about it, like scar tissue. Like it's never what it was before, but it is healed at the same time. And that's really what that felt like, because I think for me, and like that breakup and the time after that I've had with it have kind of like surgically rewired my brain into like actually what I think a healthy relationship should be. Like, I think in the past, like, my problem, right? My problem was like I was like constantly, and maybe to a point still, to this day, but there's a part of me that, and I'm not even really into astrology anymore, but some people are. So I have like a Venus and Libra, or something like that. So it's like you're constantly going through life searching for like that someone, and I think that's true in a sense. Maybe not the astrological part, but maybe pertaining to me personally, for sure. I think I'm always caught up in like, oh, like, I wonder what it's like what that person's like, um, in private, or like, I'd like to get to know this person more, or like, wow, like that lady was really cute, and just like constant thoughts like that. Kind of sometimes it just depends on the day, but it's like this weird juxtaposition of like having that at the back of my head, but this experience and me wanting my tranquility so much that I think it actually like pendulum affected me. So now, instead of being like an ultra codependent person as I was in the past, I think I've swung more way into the realm of like avoidant attachment style, because I really don't like people getting to know me. Even like when I feel like people at work, on the street, wherever, when people seem to like try to get to want to know me more, it freaks me out. I don't like it. I don't want them to. I think for the most part, I don't want to be seen. Um, you know, and there's some people that just can't stand that, or just simply don't understand that. But I'm not like a really performative person, Like, I don't want to be seen. I don't really have a lot for people. Like, I have really nothing to like offer people. I just speak my mind, and I play guitar and make music, right? Um, Other than that, I'm chilling in the woods somewhere. I don't really want much to do with society at large, I lived in a big city. I lived in St. Louis. I gave it a shot. I hated it. And I purposely moved deep into the Michigan woods into a small village of less than 1,500 people. That's how much I realized I didn't like it, you know. I like quietness. I don't like hearing fucking car engines all the time. You know, you guys have been watching me for a while. Maybe remember my old like apartment, and you could in the summer, man, you could hear like the sirens and the Jake brakes on the semis and the cars zipping by. And it's nice to kind of be out of that environment, man. What can I say? Anyways, doing it alone has also been nice, you know. I hated being alone at first, trust me. I really hated it. I was there because, again, like I probably said this before, but in my mind, subconsciously, I was seeing this as like a punishment because being alone was very. It was the first time I'd been alone pretty consistently, like 2022, since probably like 2016 or maybe 2017. And so it was like an adjustment, you know. And it was the first time I kind of did that without being fucked up on drugs or drunk all the time. So it was especially hard. So I had to find new ways to preoccupy myself. This usually in the beginning when I first got to that apartment in the summer, it was kind of like in the form of taking a lot of walks. I mean, I walked everywhere, man, for blocks and blocks and blocks all day because I think I was just running away from the thoughts, or I think it kind of helped me regulate thoughts too, just kind of walking around aimlessly and just thinking. And plus, it gave me an opportunity to sort of explore the city that I dropped in because I was gonna have to get used to it because who knows like how long I was gonna have to stay in that place, right? And yeah, I think that was my first step to like truly appreciating solitude, which it still sucked. I had to just keep walking though, but I felt like I was walking to nowhere, coming from nowhere. I often used to say like that apartment used to feel just like a hole that I slept in, or like a hovel that I slept in. It didn't really feel like a home. And I honestly maintained that thought for the majority of the time that I lived there. And that's another thing. If I could go back and do one thing from that time, I wish I would have like learned to enjoy life quicker. I wish I would have like tried to enjoy life there a little bit more. But I just think circumstantially, I was not gonna let myself do that, unfortunately, and that sucks. But it is what it is at the end of the day, and I can't rewrite history. And unfortunately, it seems that I may have lost some relationships from my personal life as a result of that one, but life's also like changing constantly anyway. And what I'm learning is, you know, nothing's constant in life, everything has an end date. And like, again, like some people think life is something that you do or something that you have, whereas I typically think life is something that happens to you. The cast and characters always constantly revolve. You know, I've been thrown around so much and I've moved around so much. I'm just used to people kind of being in and out of my life at this point. And, you know, I usually tell people I've had a lot of friends that I'll never see again. And that's true. Like, so many incredible people that I haven't spoken to in over a year in some cases. But it is what it is, you know. Like, it's hard to like invite people into your life anymore, especially when you're like this deep into like kind of craving isolation and solitude, because it's like I don't like people who disrupt the peace. And I don't like people that make me feel uncomfortable, right? So that can be like anything from like, you know, I'm not a person that makes a lot of motion. I'm not a person that makes a lot of noise beyond this YouTube channel, right? I typically go through life and not speaking to a lot of people, and I'm okay with that. It's not that I don't want to know people, it's just like I feel like I don't really need to know certain people. It's not like a one thing, it's like there's really no reason for me to like know them. Um, and it's not because they have nothing for me, it's just because like, well, if they haven't really reached out to you, you know, like what's really the point? They probably didn't really want to get to know you anyway. And for me, that was like the weirdest part of St. Louis, because oh boy, it's arguably a lot more southern than where I was used to growing up. Um, so when I moved down there, everybody was like so like wanting to know about like what I did and what I do on my weekends, what I do at my time off, my favorite bands, you know, blah 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 blah. Where I come from, like you meet people really slowly, because my home region, where I don't live there anymore. There are people that would genuinely like mess your day up just because the option to do it was there. Very little foresight, very little thought into it. Just like, let's fuck this person's day up. I lived and grew up in the urban sprawl and suburban sprawl of the Chicago area. I've lived pretty much most of my life around Lake Michigan in some capacity, and have pretty much been subjected to Chicago political campaign ads my entire life, even though technically I live in a different, you could say, administrative district, as in I live in a neighboring state where, well, I don't anymore, but I lived in a neighboring state where the culture was still predominantly from Chicago. And that is a very ruthless market out there. People are very competitive out there, and I think that big city ruthlessness kind of bled into like the suburbs a little bit. And you know, people have like very big egos over there. That's what I appreciate about Michigan. It's like people are tough out here, man. I don't care, like, you show me one redneck, I'll show you a fucking farmer in Michigan that's way tougher than that guy. Guarantee you. Only dudes I know that are like getting drunk, zipping around on fucking snowmobiles with like minimal covers on, like it's nothing. Like these guys are hardy men. You know. But at the end of the day, these people are also really humble and really quiet. That's something I really appreciate. I really appreciate people that aren't like wordy anymore. Like, you know, you can preach till you're blue in the face, but why don't you shut the fuck up and like, you know, do some action type shit. I'm not really there for like people that are like just talking about what they want to do or what they're gonna do, because when they spend a little bit of time talking about it, their messaging to you is that they want you to view them as that, and they don't actually have any like ambitions of putting the effort into being that. Like when people tell you, like when you first meet them, like how would you describe yourself, I want you to take a moment and realize that when that person describes themselves, they're not describing themselves they're describing how they would want to be viewed. You know what I'm saying? I know I've been like meandering for 20 minutes about probably nothing at this point, but it's just one of those freeform life videos, and here's the thing. I think to wrap it up is like I've also been apprehensive about dating because this current culture is just like shot. I don't think I would like really honestly, like I'm personally 29 years old. I don't think I would date anybody younger than like 26 or 27 myself. But honestly, I typically like older women. I've like always been the younger partner. But that's usually how it works out. But you know, at my age, maybe it's like shitty to say, but I'm still not at the point where I'm willing to compromise and be someone's stepdad. Because shit, I couldn't even take care of a child if I had one myself. Like it'd just be like impossible. So like, why would I like give somebody else that false expectation that I would be able to do that? Plus, I'm honestly just more interested in like starting a family from the ground up. I'm really sort of just tired of society at the large, and I just kind of want to retreat further into like the woods, or more into like a remote area by the lake, and just fucking homestead like I used to have to back in high school. Because shit, this place is just crazy, you know. But I think, as far as you know, they say like when you know, you know, and I feel like when I know, and I feel like I get a lot of opportunities. But even then, I still turn them down because I'm like, I don't know, I just don't want to get burnt again. And the last person that burnt me, you know, they burnt me really good. I almost never came back from that. It took a lot to be able to kind of like actually drop that and walk away from it. So it's one of those annoying things where you gotta be like, well, I'm really guarded with my heart, and I need you to understand that. Like trying to get to know them. Ugh. Maybe one day, but fuck. I hate getting to know people. I really do.